Alright, hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Legion coaching slash game review series. Today our victim is Eteria again. I think I did Eteria, maybe I didn't, I don't know. And he's playing Aristocrat in a game with Alex Frog. And he ends up winning the game, but he had some trouble early game, and I think part of the reason is his role, because I really think it's hard to play around this role, but I will definitely have some suggestions how to improve it. Okay, first let's look at our initial role again. If we look at this as a aristocrat role, I think it's very hard to make very good use of the mastermind. Probably the best option you have as a starter is the Pipsqueak, just because it gives you solid 1-2. It's strong on 3 as well, strong on 4, strong on 5, strong on 6, and then you really need a solution for wave 7, but at least you have Casket and to a degree Gateguard or Boom Tree as well, so this gives you a solid start into the game, and this is what I would go for. And then I would probably say, okay, we definitely need the Casket with it. We do want at least one tier 6, but as we already have a lot of magic damage, Phoenix and LOD are pretty bad, so we kinda want the Catapult, I think. I would probably go for the Boom Tree. Um, it's the cheapest of the options we have, tied with Gateguard, but Gateguard is more of an early game unit. And then we kinda have one free pick, and I think I would go with the Halo, but yeah, it doesn't have to be that pick. This would also give us different opening possibilities. You could also start with the Treant and add Howlers, but then you end up running into a similar issue as the Gateguard start, which is that we kind of suck on 3 and wave 4. So it's not really super recommended. You could also start with a Casket with a Howler. It's not horrendous either, unless you are a clown. And I have to show this. Because if you are a clown, then you start Casket Howler. You don't realize you get saved on wave 1. Get giga lucky that you get Snail King up, because double Snail this already leaks 100%. But then you decide, I got Ascend. I'm strong on 3, so I'm just gonna fucking full push and leak 103% to a DT. 10 out of 10 would recommend. And then you leak the Resend again, and then, you're kind of behind. And if we look at player power score, we can clearly see that the highest rated player in this game, Mr. Pennywise UKEK, you idiot, is the last in power score on wave 9 still. Yeah, he managed to overtake one of them by wave 10, so he's gonna giga carry the game, don't worry. But yeah, all penny shades aside, I think it's a decent-ish opener. It's really not good, but I think your options are very, very limited with this role. There will be people who might even think this is a decent role, but I think it's very hard to get the aristocrat money quite early on. You'd really prefer different tier 6s, different opening choices. I mean, maybe you can even ditch the Pipsqueak and get the Phoenix, but then you're really, really, really... Yeah, the early game is very rough. You could also try to do like a Boom Tree opening, Treant on 1, Howler on 2, but you kind of need Ascend on wave 1 to make that work, and you also have to stay 4 workers. So I don't really like the choice. So I understand why you end up with a Gateguard, but if you want to start Gateguard, I think you really want good options for wave 3 and a solution for wave 4. Because the issue with Gateguard is, sure, it's 5 workers, but then a lot of combinations you roll with Gateguard force you to stay 5 workers. So you end up wasting quite a bit of the unit's potential, and instead of having a high push opening, which you clearly want because you pick Gateguard, you end up having quite a low push, because almost every opening pushes 5 workers on wave 2 anyway, or at the latest like 6 or 7 by wave 3, and with the gate guard you're somewhat stuck behind. Which is not necessarily a super big problem, but yeah, you just have to prepare to adjust. Alright, so we get skipped on wave 1, so we send Income King into the Fire Elemental. We add 2 Howlers for 2, absolutely the correct choice. And now we're in a rough spot, because what do? We got 40 on wave 2, so clearly we want to push, right? But I think, especially, I mean, before we push here into, oh, they sent, let's push, right? This is the natural reflex that you've developed at some point. But especially when you're playing a little bit of a wonky early game role, always check enemy lanes first. And if you see that yellow did not add, he's most likely, I mean, he got a king up as well, which kind of throws you a little bit under the bus. And he's leaking to no sense, so you will get a very big reset. If you're lucky, it's just 2 snails. If you're unlucky, it's 60 reset, and then your game is very much over. So pushing a worker here, in my opinion, very clear mistake. And as we can see, we had 2 howlers and we leak 61% to 2 snails. Maybe he even had 3, I don't know. And then we make another mistake, which is we push again. It's okay, we had ascend, let's push. But pushing after wave 3 with gate guard is in approximately 95% of cases a grief, because we suck on wave 4. And pushing before a weak wave is usually very, very bad. And we get 3 snails and we leak 80%. And this is very, very rough. Now, this wave is super long, and yellow is quite bad on wave 5, and our teammate will full send into him. So what I would have liked to see is a full send at this point. And now you might say, well, usually in your videos you say don't full send after you've leaked, blah, yada yada, blah blah blah. And this is because of the absolutely amazing Bartolomeo's change that we are stuck with for 10 months, which gives the guy causing the leak more gold. So in this case, yellow gets a lot of gold from our leak, but the guy we're sending to does not. So he gets like maybe 1 gold per creep, so he gets an additional like 10 gold or something. Maybe only 8 or something. So he's really looking weak on wave 5, right? And we have a lot of Mythium, and a big leak on them is an instant way to recover the game for us. And teammate is getting an income sent. We got sent here, so we have a chance to push a little bit as well. Like if we add 1 more gate guard, with the even split, we're kind of fucked. So I would have preferred to put this howler like here, just so we have an option to push workers for wave 5, because the wave 5 is a strong wave and we can then abuse our strong wave, gain back a worker lead and get a leak on them. Like this, we have to adjust our split. I mean, obviously your plan was to build the pipsqueak, but after the send, it's probably not necessary. So yeah, we end up going income king. Again, I really would have preferred a full send. As you can see, they leak and he didn't have a good option. Of course, it's a gamble, right? And you can always say, well, I didn't want to gamble, blah, blah, blah. But I think when you've already leaked 3 and 4 quite significantly, you kind of want to take a gamble that can get you back into the game, right? Okay, so I don't hate that we built the pipsqueak here. I would have preferred to have, as I said, lower split, second gate guard, 1 more worker, then we're on 10, then this longer wave is also more beneficial for us. Yeah, this is a minor thing with the howler. It makes us more vulnerable against the big tank on wave 4, but really he can't afford a big tank on wave 4. As we saw, he had 60 Mythium to send us, yeah, I mean, it's not like he's gonna skip income for a fiend. Alright, so full send here would be better, but whatever. We push 2 workers into the send, that's fine. We income king on 6. I think that's fine as well. I don't know that I love the gate guard here, because this gate guard is kinda not really doing much for us. The issue is that clearly we have Pipsqueak, so we're not worried on wave 6. And wave 7 is coming up as one of our weak waves. So we probably should consider even pushing one less worker and getting the casket out. I assume you didn't have money for the casket with pushing 2? I don't know, maybe you did, it's hard to say. I don't want to go into your detailed log files and find out how much gold you had. Right, so gate guard, I don't really like it so much. And as you can see, I mean, your teammate is also throwing you under the bus, right? Teammate is sending king up on 1, king up on 2, where the guy leaks no send, income on 3, income on 4, where the guy leaks to a single lizard, but then he goes full on wave 5, okay? But he has sent every wave so far, and then he's income kinging on to the guy's weakest wave on wave 6. I don't know that I love this, especially when you're weak on wave 7, this income is a little bit questionable. But then again, maybe he feels like he has to carry after your wave 3 and 4, so he's just saying, whatever, teammate is gonna die. What can you do? But this gives yellow the triple brute, which is really one of these very big thresholds. I think if he can only send you 160, you probably do fine here against like double brute, robo, or whatever, because you have the casket on 2 stacks. But the third brute really, really ruins your build, as all of your units just die that much quicker. Yeah, but there's not much you can do about it. Yeah, I guess if you have like, let me just, for argument's sake, let's see how this does with a big casket instead of the 1 gate guard. But I don't think it makes a big difference. I think the big issue is really that you got the 180. Let's go into the sandbox, which clearly I very well prepared. And now I could edit this video as Seto Kaiba does, but I'm a lazy bastard, so I'm not going to. Deal with it. Right, so let's load up. And let's sell this guy, put this guy, do triple brute. But I really think it doesn't make... I don't think this casket can really carry you against the triple brute. The Pipsqueak is tanking the 1 brute nicely, which is really good. Would have really liked 1 more cast. It's pretty close. Yeah, still 88%. Not a big difference to in-game, where you leak 96%. But if you only get 160, I think this is a very big difference, even with a small casket. With a big casket, for sure. And the issue is that now the Pipsqueak is not tanking one of the brutes, and the gate guards die quite early for whatever reason. I guess because the casket is quite low placed. Yeah. Alright, and now the final test. We just do this and assume you only get this end, because then you might do very, very well. Like, I'm not illustrating this to say, oh, clearly it's your teammate's fault or whatever, or this is something that you could have made sure that you only get the 160 here. I'm just saying this because Mythium thresholds really, really matter. We're not doing super well either. Okay. How are we leaking more here? Okay, whatever. Okay, I don't understand how we're leaking more. I guess these gate guards are also like... Yeah, I think you want to do casket here. Okay, final one. I think you want to make sure that your casket protects your gate guard. Then the Pipsqueak is tanking the Robo, which is good. That the casket is full tanking is not ideal, but I think it's much better, yeah, than when the gate guard tanks. And now you have a lot of dogs out, and then you're doing really well, as you should. Yeah, now you're just full holding. Okay. Yeah, this is what I thought would happen in an ideal world, right? This is the scenario we really want to force. And yeah. So main takeaway, don't put your casket here, put it one square up. So it tanks for your gate guards. It might even be fine to just have it like this. Against 160. I think 180 you always leak, but you also leak significantly less if the casket is up here, because really gate guards are damage dealers and casket is a tank even though it has mana. Cast, you lazy bastard! Okay, it didn't want to cast, so now you're doing significantly worse than you could. But this is still okay. I mean, you're basically leaking the sends. Yeah, 66%. Significantly worse. But anyway, I think we've talked about this wave for long enough. Yeah, rough spot, but I really would prefer this casket to be a square up, and I would also really like you to prepare on wave 6 for wave 7 with a casket. And I would really like your teammate not to income send here, just to give you a chance to slightly recover against the big send wave 6 wave 7 that's coming. Alright, so we income kinged here. I think that's a correct choice. We have to try to protect ourselves. We income king again. Not 100% sure this is correct, as this really showcases what we want to do, which is hit wave 10. You can also make an argument that skipping 8 and then going wave 9 is a good option for you guys, as he has Fire Elemental, Zeus, Ranger, Canopy, all of which are quite bad on 9. He can go into a Pyro, but he's lacking tank value, so Teal can't really hold against, I don't know, maybe Mole Brutes, or even a Bear, or just Brutes. And Yellow is also weak on 9, so going full on this wave after a skip on 8 would have been a decent option in my opinion. Especially since right now it's quite easy for them in theory to prepare wave 10, as they will not be under threat on wave 9. But since they are bad players, they don't prepare wave 10. And you identify that they suck on 10, so you go full on 10, and you get a lot of king damage. This really gets you back into a very decent spot in the game, especially given that they income king you here. So they had a chance to prevent this by properly preparing that wave on wave 9, but they didn't. And you could have prevented their preparation by skipping wave 8. And maybe even gone wave 9 and then considered full resending on wave 10 and hit them with a 1-2 punch. I'm not saying this is necessarily much better, but I think I would have preferred an 8 skip in this spot compared to income kinging. Alright, so wave 10 hits, we have Savior, we have Giant Snails, and we have Embargo. You end up going Embargo for a wave 13 play. I'm not super sure I love this. Well, given that there have been a significant amount of leaks and the game is quite quote-unquote fed in terms of income, it's always hard to make a hard wave 12 play work for really any side. But I think it's definitely worth considering to go Giant Snails on 12 into them. It also really depends when they pick their Savior. If they insta-pick it, you instantly see it, and then you can make your decision based off of that. With the Embargo, the issue really is that if they end up committing for a wave 12 send on you guys, because they expect you to pick embargo for whatever reason, then you will potentially die on wave 12. I mean, our build is completely horrendous on 12. There's nothing we can do if we get like, I don't know, 300 something with giant snails. We're instantly full leaking the wave. And our teammate, oh yeah, he has DK, so he's fine, right? Well, he has approximately one tank on his board for the DK, so the DK will just be overrun. It deals very little damage against the giant snails, so the enemy has a quite significant chance to go hard 12 on you, and picking embargo can just insta-lose you the game if they commit for it. So I would be very, very careful with the embargo, and I would have also considered 12 myself, because yellow only has Tempest, which is good on 12. And teal only potentially has Pyro. Everything else on his board giga sucks on 12. So yeah, and just Pyros, again, same reason that they aren't amazing on wave 9 is that they will tank very early on wave 12. So if you just send, say, giant snails and a mole or whatever, I think he's definitely leaking big on teal. And then they probably die. And if you see they pick Savior, then you can even push really, really hard for it, because then your teammate is under no threat with the DK. And then, yeah, you just full push, teammate pushes a little bit less, his guy's weaker, you pick giant snails, and you just kill them on 12. If they don't pick it early, then this is sort of the quote-unquote level meta game where you have to predict what they want to do, and they have to predict what you want to do. If you think they are never really going aggressive on wave 12, it's fine to take embargo as well. But yeah, on wave 13, Teal is quite strong. He has Doomsday, he has ways to kill GKs. Sure, his tank value is kind of awful, so it's not like he can't leak. But essentially, we're trading a wave 12 send where both of them suck to a wave 13 send where, yeah, okay, yellow just sucks on every wave. But at least he has big Halo. Yeah, he has one good unit for for wave 13. And this guy also has a good unit for that wave. So I'm not so sure if this trade-off is really worth it. But anyway, I mean, we get income kinked here, so we push more. Correct choice. Now we're not worried about wave 12 anymore. Now we're just worried about dealing a lot of damage on wave 13. We prepare wave 13. Our teammate builds the second DK for God knows what reason, because I guess more DKs are more better. I don't know. The classic, we have one tank unit on the field and it's a single treant on wave 12 build. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, there's just a click player name and report player feature. Anyway, wave 13 hits. We get income kinked as we expected. We sent double GK mole. I think this is correct. One could argue that one GK is better, but this opens him up to splitting the wave and not focusing the second GK. So I think double GK is just the quote-unquote safe send to leak him. With this build, he ended up with one GK is, of course, causing a bigger leak. As the second GK is essentially a DPS GK, but it's there quote-unquote for safety reasons, right? So you don't want them to build an even split with an Aqua or whatever, then left-hand side focuses the wave, the splash makes the wave lower than the GK, and then GK never gets focused, and then he might end up holding. This send, I mean, this is what I was saying, like he's not so trash on wave 13, but this send is god-awful. I'm sorry, Alex, if you see this. I mean, I'm sorry, but holy shit, this send is grief. It's the 4 eyes does really nothing. I mean, he has a Tree of Life Necromata, yeah? This is the only, I mean, Tree of Life is what the 4 eye is good against. This is just, in my opinion, a clear, like, pack imps or whatever kind of send where you just want to have a lot of targets and then, yeah. Okay, whatever, it happened. Now we have to make our next play, and I think the next play is a little bit tricky for us as, well, wave 14, we can't resend, they have too much value. Wave 15, they have a lot of value, and teal is decent-ish, and yellow is also decent-ish. So wave 15 is really hard to force. This guy sucks giant monkey balls on 16, so we kinda want 16, but teal has pyro and doomsday for 16, so he might be hard to leak. And we are too weak to skip 16. So we have to send by wave 16, and we can't go 14 and 15, so it has to be 16, which is the call we make. It's correct, but it's a little bit tricky. I guess we have to push a little more, and teammate has to push a little less, but his build is not really amazing on 16 either. Okay, so let's see what happens. We decide that after pushing a few workers into the income here, that it's very beneficial for us to just to just finish our king ups on wave 14 while we are plus value, and this guy is hard to leak on wave 16. I don't understand exactly what's going on, and I also don't understand why both of us, like Alex is pushing a lot of workers into no send here. Or he just late pushed for this wave 13 send, I don't know. And we also push workers here, so yeah, I just don't understand. And he's pushing a lot of workers. Like, what for? This is leaking every time. Why king up and push? Like, just stay 31 workers, man. Don't do the 200 Mythium here. You'll end up having the same send on 16, and you'll just end up having, I don't know, like 400 more value. Like, what are we doing? I just don't understand, man. It's so bad. I'm sorry, but it's just so bad. All right, and then, well, 15, skip, enemy team somehow has pushed. I also don't quite understand why teal is pushing so much here, especially into 60 of king ups. Like, it's his job to hold 16. But he's pushing. I mean, sure, he's strong there, but he has to know that, like, with low king HP, you're not gonna win a race if you don't hold. You will always die from this guy's leak, so why are you pushing to 40 workers? What's your agenda here? Like, what's the line you're going for? Are you really thinking that you will win a race on this wave um, while you are like much lower king HP? I don't know. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. All right, and then wave 15 comes. Yeah, no one sends as expected. Teammate is preparing 16. This is good. We're building a Hellgate. And now I understand, right? We rerolled at some point into Hellgate. We replaced our gate guard with a Hellgate. I don't think this is a bad choice. I think we did this on like wave 9 or something. This is about the correct time to reroll, but it's rather inconsequential for the game, so I don't want to spend so much time pondering upon these choices. I would have probably done the same. Anyway, so we built this Hellgate here, and now clearly we do this because we want aristocrat value, yada yada, blah blah blah. But I don't think it's a good choice, because what do we expect? We expect them to either go 15 because they are idiots, or 16 because it's the correct wave to send on. And in both cases, this Hellgate is not worth it. For both waves, your best solution by far in the role is the Casket. Iron Maidens are amazing on wave 16 with the AoE, and you have full king HP, teammate has a little bit of AoE, so if you end up like damaging the wave a lot, it's very, very unlikely for you to die on 16. Whereas the Hellgate, it will sort of delay on your lane, but I think it won't really kill much. So if it comes down to trying to survive on 16, which is the angle I would go for, as we are in a decent spot, right? We are kind of ahead here. We see power score, we see net worth, we're ahead. Why do we build this unit that's weak on the wave where we expect to send? Teammate has AoE as well. One of the sovs might pop, and then, you know, he's not leaking 900 million% and we can survive. And I think it's much, much easier to win a race if you just survive. And I think 720 gold in Iron Maidens would really help us on wave 16. Anyway, so we end up sending. Our send has to be like either 1 GK to try to tank the Doomsday and the Pyro, or it has to be a lot of bears. And whatever we send into the sky doesn't matter. And then the send hits, and we end up building Iron Maidens, which is good. We send GK and Bear, and I don't like this, and here's why. What is GK Bear going to do? And I also don't like the snail. The snail is just a recipe for disaster. It's the only way for him to ignore tank mercs. So do not send the snail. Shift the 20 Mythium. I don't care. Send a brute instead of one of the robos. I don't care, but really don't send the snail. But anyway, this GK and Bear, this will make sure that the GK goes into the split and this Bear goes left. And so he will insta-kill the Bear before he has really done a lot of damage to the wave, so the healing isn't super valuable. I mean, I guess you expect him to, like, get rid of the split, but then, yeah, sure, he's attacking the Bear, and then he will just ignore the Ghost Knight afterwards, because, well, the Ghost Knight will be higher HP percentage-wise than the wave. So, really, send a lot of bears because they will take more damage from the AoE, or send one GK and like tanks. Don't send the two together. I think you're really setting yourself up for maybe potentially not leaking him. The rest is fine. Mole Hermit, I don't mind it. I really don't mind the Robos either. But I think instead of the GK, 4-eye, Imps, more Robos are fine. Or instead of the Bear, doing the same would have been a better and safer choice. But he leaks because he pushed, and then you win the race. And now, for argument's sake, let's see what happens if we just replace this Hellgate by more Iron Maidens. I don't know how. We'll have a look at this send once in game and see how we did, and then compare to what happens with more Iron Maidens. Because I haven't tested this, so maybe I'm setting myself up to look like an idiot. If I do, hey, that's me, I'm an idiot, that's fine. We're all wrong sometimes. Even Kid K probably, but usually he's right and I'm wrong, but whatever, what can you do? Alright, let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So, we got GK, Pack, Imp, and a Brute. Let's lock wave so we can test and don't have to resend all of the stuff. I think the build is fine. Like with the even split, the GK is very, very bad send into us. Phoenix is tanking very nicely. But we just get overrun. And as you can see, the gate hasn't even like finished spawning all of these units. Yeah, it's 100% leak. And in game, we leaked 126%. So we already got better RNG. Let's go. We can build for 680 gold. This is 260, 460, 660. So let's do this. Because this also factors in that we got 15 income from the Hellgate because of Aristocrat, or 18. It might, honestly, the percentage might be the same as before. And someone is spamming me with emails. I will not edit this out. Yeah, it's a bigger percentage. But what we really care about is king damage potential, right, at this point. And the king damage, like, if you remember the first try we did with the in-game build, the wave was essentially full HP. So it would have taken the king 2 or 3 AoEs to clear this, Whereas this wave is now mostly on like a little bit over half HP, so it definitely fully dies to the second AoE. And this is why I would much prefer these Iron Maidens over the Hellgate. Because, well, again, the lower wave HP will really make a big difference in the race. Like, even if you end up dying, the king will really reduce the wave's DPS very, very quickly. So this difference in wave HP might very, very well win you a race. All right, so browser, hello, hello, hello. Yeah. So this is the end of the game. This review took like somehow it ended up being a lot longer because I wanted to talk about a lot of things. But yeah, good comeback. You end up winning the race. I disagree with a lot of the mid-game choices, but they somehow ended up working out. And for you as a main takeaway, um, if you don't have good units for wave 3, 4, do not push 6 or 7 workers with Gate Guard. It sets you up for a lot of potential failures. And I would also always consider opening Pipsqueak. It's really, really strong currently. And it would have set you up for success rather than failure. And also full sending here would give you a good way back into the game. Place your casket higher, so tanks for the gate guards. The gate guards are really good DPS units if they get to summon. Like this, they die too early. Consider skipping 8. Consider wave 12 send. Ping your teammate the sends, because he clearly did not find them. I don't know what's going on here. And we win the race on wave 16. So I hope there were some things that are educational for you and some that were entertaining, and I hope to see you in the next video.